Today I brought some Blue Note Juke joint whiskey. It's uncut. My wife picked it up in Georgia at 47 package, Macon, for about $47 back in February. Company, Blue River Distilling Company, established in 2018. The juice is distilled in Kentucky, but the company's based in Tennessee. So this bottle's coming in at 118.5 proof. Label says 3-year minimum.
So it's not cask strength. It's not. They're cutting it something a little bit at least.
It is uncut.
It is uncut.
It is uncut.
That's why it says uncut. Okay. So this is how it's coming out.
That is.
Okay.
So 70% corn, 21% rye, and then you have 9 barley.
So what'd you say? Corn 70?
70 corn.
Nice.
21 rye, 9 barley. So the cool thing about this bottle is in June 2019, the rack house collapsed at O.Z. Taylor, and about 4,000 barrels.
4,000.
4,000 barrels came to the ground. So not only was it exposed to sunlight, but it spent a good part of the summer just laying out.
What?
Yep.
All the barrels just laid out until they get cleaned up?
They just laid out. So it took them a little bit to get cleaned up. O.Z. Tyler is now Green River Distilling. They renamed in 2019. Like I said, the remaining barrels spent most of their time in the Kentucky summer exposed.
Wow.
And then, not wanting them to go to waste, Blue Note released this. So these barrels individually as Blue Note Uncut, Unfiltered. And if some may be labeled single barrel, but this is not.
So this bottle right here, this has bourbon in it that it can't be done again, right?
Correct.
This is going to be pretty once a lifetime experience, right? The way it was treated.
Yeah, unless there's another rack house collapse.
Yeah, and so this very likely this was literally a barrel sitting in the sun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 4,000 barrels. I was watching a few news interviews. They didn't lose any.
They all stayed
they all
intact?
They all stayed intact.
Oh, man.
So not only were these pulled out of the sun, but some were in the mud from the storm.
They probably blended, right? No? They probably had to do a blend to make everything kind of come together, I would think.
Some say single barrel. So,
some say single.
Some.
So nosing it right off the bat, it was hot. And now it's sat here, swirled it a little bit, and it's burning off. And I'm getting the sweeterness now.
Mm-hmm. The nose, you're saying candy corn, roasted corn, honey, charred wood, hints of cherry, and vanilla bean.
Do they talk about anything on the label about?
Well, with it being uncut, it goes into the company history, and a lot of it's blurred out.
Yeah, 1920s. Is this a dusty brought back brand again, or is it always been Blue Notes since the 20s?
Couldn't find anything about that.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing in the history.
118.5, and this is labeled barrel number 17824. Okay. Yeah, and I know those guys at that place in Macon. I didn't know their names, but I know that they've told me before they do get to do barrel picks. So this is stickered, hand selected by Nick and Jay's. I don't know if there's an older gentleman there and there's like some younger guys and stuff, but they probably did have the horsepower to pick their own barrels, or this blend or this bottle. Collect whatever.
Oh, actually,
I know they do get to pick things.
Turn that back around. Read right underneath their names. So
single barrel. Okay.
They selected the barrel.
So they did pick this barrel.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's not a blend. They did pick this barrel. Yeah, those guys have treated me good, man. It's the only place I can find the smoke wagon and some of the other stuff that we don't get in Florida. They don't beat you up there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you taste it a little bit?
I did, yeah.
Have you got an open one of these at the house, or is this you do? So
Yeah.
you have two of these.
My wife went to their store, texted me when she got there, and she's like, "Hey, I found these. They had the Storm Survivor sign up on it, and she got two, and it's under. She found it under MSRP. MSRP's around $49,
That's awesome.
and she got it $47, and
In Kentucky, she got this.
Georgia.
She got this in Georgia. Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
package store.
Right.
Yep. So
Right.
she comes out to the car, and I'm like, "Hey, go back in and get two more."
Yeah.
So we have 4 bottles. This one being the second one that we've opened.
Because I'm always thinking about you guys scoring so many bottles in Kentucky in the locations, and it's just hard to, always thinking about you going to these stores because you're usually on site for most of your collection.
But when we travel, we stop at liquor stores just to see what they have because, some of them may have this bottle on the shelf, how, they don't know about. And it's something that we may like or something that's desirable, and we pull that in and, how you got that one behind you. It's like I just went in one day and saw it on the shelf, and I've been in that store many of times, and I'm like, oh, looks weird. I'm like, I pull it out because it was hidden. It wasn't displayed.
And he turns them those wooden boxes, I think, were turned sideways,
Yeah,
too.
so you can't see what
Right,
they are.
right.
So I saw the box, and he's like, you can go behind there. I pulled it out, and I'm like, ho, ho, ho. So it's...
Yeah, I'm glad you already had that, and you let... it was me and...
you and Dave.
Dave, yeah, we both got that.
So the palate, hot, lots of spice, grain.
This is different.
Yeah,
This is definitely different.
it is.
If this was in a lineup with some of the other stuff we've done recently, I would know this. This is very unique. I like it a lot.
Yeah. So it says forward on rye, cherry, mint,
Yep.
cinnamon
Yep.
could also be found.
Yeah. Very flavorful.
Yeah, and at 118 proof, it is a little hot, but it doesn't drink like 118.
No. I think the proof though really packs that spice better. On the after end, it still holds that spice there. It doesn't burn off. I mean, I haven't had it. This is still just going down my palate right now, and it's been several seconds, and I still have the spice. Do you have the spice sticks?
It holds. It does.
And the sweetness in the beginning. Sometimes you get the spice in the front, and then you get the sweetness in the end. This one is as sweet in the front and spicy in the end, and it stays.
It does stay.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And that hot just makes it a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
But it's not like you would think when you're drinking the 101s or, the 108s. 118, it's pretty decent. And then for the finish, we have dried wood and sweet oak spice.
Yeah, I get a little oaky, but that candy corn, I believe I taste that candy corn in the front. Yeah. Something's candied in the front.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not a big candy corn fan.
Yeah, it's not like I go and, Halloween is not my go-to, but no, but it is, this is good. I like the front. I like the back. Sticks around.
So the cool thing about this company is it got award for one of the best bottles under $50. If you click on the little arrow on the bottom of the page next to the 7.
Here?
Yeah, so 20 of the top 7 got 92 points at Whiskey Advocate. And then I believe the next sticker is double platinum in the American Spirits 2022.
So they've been recognized recently.
They have.
Number 7, top 20. So this is 4 year. It was 4 years.
Yeah, the label says a minimum of 3, but everywhere, especially their website, says 4.
Do you think they intended for the 4? Or did the 4 happen because they were doing the cleanup crew and it just took so long? I wonder if it was intended to be a 2 or a 3.
Not sure.
But it turned into a 4 and we benefited from that.
We did. And a lot of things, it's like when weather events happen and, rack houses collapse, for prime example, the Colonel Taylor, when the tornado came through and took the roof off that, facility, those bottles, we were sitting at Buffalo Trace one day, and we just got done making rounds through liquor stores as we're traveling through Kentucky on the trail. We stopped at a liquor store, and I found a Colonel Taylor bottle, tornado survivor. It was like $7,500 on the sticker.
Oh my God.
And my wife's like, yeah, we're not getting that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to pay $7,500 either for a bottle. But we're sitting there at Buffalo Trace, and they mentioned it because now they're trying to replicate some of those weather events
Really?
that happened to those barrels on the top floor.
Because they're good?
Because they have a distinctive
Really?
flavor profile to them. They were exposed to the weather and the sun and the climate change that wouldn't be, in your controlled, somewhat controlled rack house. So they mentioned that it's a deal if you could find a bottle under like $13,000.
Oh my God.
So my wife looked at me. She's like, we're not going back.
Still not going back. Yeah.
So these weather events on these bottles or on these barrels create something that changes, and
it makes you wonder.
Makes
you wonder if there's meant to be indoors the whole time.
But now, they're Buffalo Trace, so they're trying to replicate it to bring some of that flavor back, just to see. So it's exciting.
There is something immediately once it just hits your mouth, right on the tongue. There is something, I can't put my finger on it. You mentioned cherries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something immediately on the tongue. You get it too? Something immediate.
Allspice?
I think I'm getting a fruit. Feels like I'm getting a fruit right off the bat. No waste of time. I mean, it's hitting it.
Go to the next page. Let's see what they have to say. See if that...
These guys here?
Mm-hmm. The bourbon culture. So let's go ahead and roll down. And let's see if they mention maybe what you're missing on that flavor. Keep going. You gotta keep going.
I need to close that subscribe.
It's all the ads through the page.
Yeah. So they're saying, what's this Dickel mash bill stuff they're talking about?
I believe it's what it used to be.
Oh, it used to be a super high corn.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's 70%, right? Which is good.
Yeah, 70, 21, 9.
That's nice. This is yours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. O.Z. Taylor.
Yeah, OZ Taylor, now Green River Distilling.
Is this Taylor as in all the Taylors? Or
Tyler.
Oh, Tyler. Okay. Yeah, Tyler. Gotcha, not Taylor. So, Owensboro. Green River. I think, who else comes from Green River? I think it's
Lux.
The McFarlands.
Yeah.
I think the McFarland line is at Green River too.
Yeah.
I believe they have some barrels there.
Yeah, I believe if you look into the ownership of everything, Green River's wrapped in with Lux, wrapped in with MGP.
Oh. Yeah, because Eric and I, when we did his McFarland bottle, Google Earthing that spot, you could see the different rick houses, but on the McFarland site that wasn't really existent. But there was a point where there was like they would give the brand, they would name it on the rick house. Yeah, but I couldn't see that from Google Earth. I couldn't see anything but I think it was Green River.
Yeah, and I haven't been there yet.
That one's not. That thing's like it looked like it was on just some super rural road out in the middle of nowhere. But I mean, I don't know if they're all like that. You're the one that's been to those.
And some of those are, the journey worth taking.
Mm-hmm.
You pull up to something somewhere that looks desolate and it's like a mecca waiting in a desert.
If they're going to have tastings there. You know, it might be doors are closed and you can't do a thing there.
Yeah.
That sucks, but so survivor barrels of a June collapse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, June 2019. They said a thunderstorm. Some people say remnants of a hurricane.
Weakened the place or something?
Yeah. Yep. Came through, took it down. So
they typically like to bottle around 93. So you know what, dude? I bet they did sort of plan on this coming out sooner. But that storm pushed them to have a 118 proof. So it stayed longer. And that's in that back end oak that we're getting. Oh, so look, okay, here we go. Cherry, mint, and warm cinnamon. There we go. And they have cherry right in front. There's a hint of something savory, and the gentleman's saying lemon, icing, and other citrus rind. Yeah, I think I taste the citrus.
Yeah, and it says forward on the rye. So that could also be something that touches base on the palate. This guy has something else. Top that off.
Please.
There we go. Yeah, so 118 and a half, it really, it's warm.
Mm-hmm.
It's inviting. It doesn't blow you out the water.
Mm-mm.
You know, it's got a good nose, taste, and it's got a nice, decent finish that holds on for a little bit.
I don't know about a beginner loving it, though.
No.
You know, I wouldn't maybe pour this for the first time with someone. Might blow their socks off if they don't really know how to.
Oh, and you have this water here.
Yeah, I'm going to try some water, man.
Let's see if this...
Let's give some water, sucker. Shit. Yeah, let's get some water.
Couple drops here.
Give me one more of those. Fill that up. I'm gonna.
Oh, you want a whole one?
Yeah, let's go a whole one. Okay, there we go. There we go. Let's see here. We got a dropper full of water. 0 filtered water.
Yeah, because I found like some bottles, and it could just be the barrel, but as soon as I cool it down with a piece of ice, it loses the sweetness with some that I found. And then some, when you throw in some water, it may open up some...
It didn't hurt this.
Hidden talents.
This did not hurt this at all. This might, if you were to only have this bottle with someone's first pour on, then they would... If you did this with some ice, they might like it.
Yeah, because it cooled down the hotness, I believe. Just those few drops that I put in here.
I think someone could do this with an ice. A big square cube, round cube or something. Mm-hmm. It might have lowered that front end cherry, though. I'm getting more rye. What about you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
more of the spice.
Some of that you can feel the lingering a little bit on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and if you want to see what, let's scroll down a little bit more before we see what a few thousand barrels of bourbon looks like laying on the ground. So it definitely makes a good story.
Juke joint.
About the bottle, about the weather, about the event that made this come to fruition.
This is the first time I've tasted a bourbon that had gone through some sort of a catastrophe like that. I've never. It's interesting because it makes you wonder if you should expose your barrels a little bit. You know, it's really risky,
right?
They were forced to take that risk on this one. You want to go to this one here?
Yeah, let's see what with the report that I was able to find.
Yeah, about this point here.
There we go.
That is something.
So
they look just perfectly just stacked on.
Yeah.
What do you think that's like 20, 30 foot tall stacks of barrels?
Oh, geez. The stack right there.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Well, half
a story and a half
pole. Yeah.
Maybe 2 stories high.
Yeah. You got to see how tall. I'd go back out if you want to compare it to the rack houses that are still standing.
How the heck?
So that rack house is...
Oh.
Yeah.
That's 2 or 3 stories high of stack of barrels landing on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because is that a 4-story, Rick? Looks like a 4.
3.
3 to 4. 3?
Maybe 4.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Just laying on the side of the road.
Dude, if that would have caught fire, though, holy smokes. They look perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you set them there.
Yeah, the master distiller said thankfully they didn't lose any out of the barrels.
How do you not crush one? It's amazing. Well, they probably sit outside for that time. I mean, you're processing insurance claims and, probably the EPA's out there testing things, make sure that it's not bleeding off. I mean, you got all kinds of processes probably going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order for you to get it released back to you, right?
Oh, yeah.
You probably can't put your hands right on your barrels after such a catastrophe right away.
Oh, making sure nothing's leaking, making sure nothing's...
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Safety and insurance is the first thing that comes to my mind, right? Yeah, and I mean, handling it, like they want to make sure it's not going to start on fire. And,
Mm-hmm.
looks like there's a business next door behind, not even very far. If this would have gone up, it would have took that down with it.
Yeah, and if you go further into the interview, there's a neighbor that was talking about it. So thankfully, because you see the stories of, there's
that'll tell us how many
actually
stories.
Slide back a little bit because you can actually see how many layers. That's like
that's a 5-story.
5 stories,
maybe 6.
Yeah, and those barrels are almost stacked 2 stories.
Man, I don't know. That looks. I would not want to have that many barrels with 2x4s.
But look at the other building behind it. That's not damaged. You see how the sides are exposed, and
you know what? I bet they engineered this thing.
Oh, I think it came apart. Look at that.
Well, it's probably engineered in quarters. You got me? Mm-hmm. So 1 quarter collapsed. And you have this tar paper roof that just is, I don't know, man. That's probably the cheesiest rick house I've ever seen. I don't think they're ever going to do that again. That is 2x4s taking that many tons of barrels 5 stories high. Eef. Probably not a good idea, right?
Nah, they're probably 2x6s, 2x10s.
You think?
2x12s.
Man, but those barrels. I mean, the barrel empties 100 pounds approximately.
Yeah, but then you get into the big boy. You get into the girth of like the 4x6s and
yeah.
But
man, 5 stories
to
high.
Keep it in there.
And look, how do you get to? Well, clearly this is intended to not have any rotation. You're not rotating any of these throughout its aging. It's not going anywhere. You're not moving any around, right?
No.
You're not moving any around, so you're stuck. And how do you get them out? You have that little walkway.
Yep, the elevators.
Wow. That is quite the not building I would want.
Yeah, see, there's your big wood. Looking at it from back there, it looks
you're
small.
right. That is big wood.
So
yeah,
the
God, those are 8x10s or something. I don't know, 6x10s. Those are big.
Yeah.
How do you even load those? How do you even get them in there? It's almost like
elevators. Yeah, it's a network of elevators and
you just roll it into the track and it stops.
Yeah, because the barrels,
gotcha.
The way they're designed,
roll them.
Yeah, it's like a train wheel, and they stay to the outside and roll in and.
Well, whatever Cooper's those barrels came from, they held up. That's a good job.
No,
those are bulletproof, man.
That's that American white oak for you. And then wherever the wood came from. But as soon as you get in there, you can tell it's definitely bigger wood. And that, the summer thunderstorm that took it down.
Yeah, well, look at that. Look at the tar paper roof. Maybe just the weight of that rain was enough to just collapse that quarter. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Started sagging, maybe.
Yeah. The click on the juke joint up top there.
Because you're like, this is yours. On their site.
Yep. Blue Note, uncut.
Yeah, on their site, it's our products, it's uncut. Even though our label shows a little different, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is it. This is Blue Note because it talks about the collapse. Yeah. So that's it. So our products, uncut.
Mm-hmm.
What's this? They've done a 17-year.
Oh, yeah, and it looks pretty, too.
They've done a 17.
Yes.
Oh, man. Highly limited. Minimum. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been recognized, too, in 2021.
93 points.
Yeah, it's been recognized as well. So these guys are a non-distiller producer?
Yeah, NDP.
They're an NDP.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But they've done this well.
They have.
They have some good relationships then.
It's a good product.
Yeah, they got good relationships with whoever is doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you go to click the About Us, they have a network of just people. If you scroll down, talks about the COO and then
yeah, global partnerships.
Mm-hmm. 125 distilled spirit plants. And they're noted since they, I believe their license started in 2014. They're the oldest in Tennessee.
Okay, so who's this? Memphis Distillery adds a tasting room. So that's one of the. Are they distilling in Memphis? You said
I
thought they were aging in Memphis.
No, they're producing everything in Kentucky.
Okay,
it's aged Kentucky, and then it's brought to Tennessee.
Okay, because that's one of their venues, or that's their.
No, it's where they're based.
Okay.
Yep.
A lot of they got Wow.
And just below that's a team. So, I mean, they look to be done right because they have, not only their managers, but social media and then production. And then they have, if you keep scrolling down, they have their single barrel program, their production.
Oh, wow.
So
they're squared away.
They're doing it.
Huh. Man, they have a really nice informational site too.
Mm-hmm.
Very transparent.
It's clean.
It's clean. Yep. What if you take a tour? What are we touring? What is the tour of? Where is this? The location is in Memphis. So if you take a tour, you're in Memphis.
Yep.
Oh, it's like a high-tech spot they got there. But the product is a Kentucky product. Mm-hmm. But you're going to go to Memphis for the tour.
Yeah, this is a Kentucky product.
So did you look, what is with the music aspect? I almost feel like a Nashville, Elvis sort of vibe from, did you ever find out why is the founders into the original sort of Tennessee music or something?
Well, if you look on the bottle, it dates back to the 20s.
Yeah, so what's going on there?
You got to think what's happening in Tennessee.
In the 20s?
In the 20s. So, it's Memphis, close to
music.
Music, blues, coming up Mississippi, since their facility is, influenced by the Mississippi.
Okay.
You have that special delta, which, they have they call it the delta climate season because it changes with the flow and how it's for
water heights and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah, it's its own little climate as you go down the Mississippi because of the floodplains and everything else. So I would assume the Blue Note, without looking into it, maybe we could find it on their website, but it would just pay homage to that.
Yeah, because the U and the blue is a guitar, piece of a guitar, and then you got the notes going across the logo. Yeah, I've never had this Blue Note.
Yeah, and it was something I never had either. And then while my wife was making her journey up to Indiana, not only did she get to stop at Jim Beam and meet those guys and get those signed and autographed and pictured, bottles, but
Yeah.
she got to stop at a place you recommended, and she saw that and she's like, yeah, we always get two. I'm like,
Yeah.
go and get two more. So, we have a few sitting on the shelf at the house, and it doesn't disappoint. I have one open, and when you're like, hey, what should I bring? Well, you said bring something that's easily available to other companies. They sell at a Total Wine, so you can get your hands on this. It's
Something
not,
like it.
Yeah, it's
Something
not
like it,
a highly limited bottle. It will be.
This experience is limited, yeah.
Yeah, the experience is limited because when it's out, it's out. How long until another rick house unfortunately collapses?
This is really unique.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I can't think of it, but the front reminds me of something, but I can't put my finger on it. Does anything remind you of another bourbon? Any part of it?
Well, depending on the age and the barrel and, the bill.
Anything like it, you're like, oh, that's like this.
Well, I don't want to mention it now that you say that because it takes me back to, the 20s, 20, 21-year-old, drinking, the cheap cheap stuff off the shelf. So
you were easily wowed back then.
Yeah, that cherry note, takes you to something that you don't want to remember.
It is. It actually, I feel like if I tasted this and you didn't tell me anything about it, I would almost feel it's older. Like it's even more. It actually gives you a good maturity level at 4 years.
Well, that's the amazement of, can you try something in the barrel that didn't collapse, that wasn't exposed to the sun, the same mash bill, the same location in the warehouse, but having that event, having it, whether this barrel was in the mud or in the sun or in the middle, because they make mention of, some barrels were pried out of the mud, some were exposed to full sun, so to dig down further into the history, since this was labeled which barrel it came from, you could see when it went in, but, are they documenting the history of when, what location this was? I don't believe they would.
I mean, quite frankly, so we have, let's just reach here. So barrel 17824. So 17824. Could this be a barrel that was in one of those quarters that didn't collapse but was exposed? Because are they using the whole rick house, even though it looks like a quarter dropped?
Right.
The other 3/4, are we calling all of them part of this catastrophe as well? Because
it said the barrels that
are we talking about just a quarter?
Yeah, and it didn't really define that.
Right. So I wonder if this is, one of them ones that never dropped to the ground, is just exposed. And actually, it's a question. This is something I'm going to go through. I'm not actually driving up there next time I go. It's sad because I would like to actually talk to those guys why they picked this, because they have really good recollections of their barrel choices.
Oh, at the package 47.
Yeah, I'd love to ask them. And it was funny because when I went through there last time, they had a barrel pick and I didn't know to trust. I didn't know their palates. Like, I don't know if it's going to be what I want.
Right.
So I didn't do it. I didn't do their barrel picks. I picked just the labels that I can't get here.
Mm-hmm.
But those guys do seem to have the palates like similar to mine. The preference of what they're going to pick.
Right.
And I think I can trust their choices.
And when I'm talking to some of the liquor store owners, when they decide to do a single barrel pick, they get like 5 barrels in little vials overnighted to them.
Yep.
And so they get to sample those vials and then they select that. So, if it was me, which out of those 5 tasted the best?
Yeah.
Hey, give me that one.
Give me that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I last time I rolled into Detling, there was a barrel pick happening. And it was about 6 vials, six little, and he labels them, and it's hard to choose, man. That's not easy.
Yeah.
That's not an easy job to do, because if they're all quite good, it's hard to pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could just be the little nuances or how it flows with a piece of, a couple drops of water or a piece of ice.
Yeah.
And because like I said, some bottles, whenever I throw a piece of ice in it, you lose the sweetness.
Yeah, we did ice on a couple low proofs, and we don't do ice anymore because it really it fell out. The bottom fell out. So the drops, I think, as far as we should go, quite frankly.
Well, and then going back to your bottle that you haven't opened back there, I threw a piece of ice in it, and it just unlocked like other flavors that weren't there
really
in the beginning. So it surprised me. So if you ever decide to, I would start a drink, just a straight pour.
Yeah.
Another drink, a couple drops of water, and then, maybe wait till the next day, throw the third drink, piece of ice, let it chill. I think it really opened it up with that.
Now, is Beam doing that Distiller's
Masterpiece?
Yeah, is that a constant thing?
No.
It's not.
No.
that's why
it's been done for a long time.
Yeah, that may never be open because of that. Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's been done for a long time.
Man.
And it's thankfully we all have some. And when I was touching base with the guys at Beam, I told them what I was doing. And they're like, hey, can you invite me to that 21st birthday opening?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I want to be there.
Right?
I want to be there for sure, man.
And I understand that bourbon stops aging when it comes out of the barrel.
Yeah, yeah.
But for it to sit, and it's not like wine, so it doesn't continue aging. So, but to say, hey, this was aged 14 to 18 years.
And then it sat another 20.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool.
Yeah. So it's an experience. And, just going through this, it's, every bottle has its own little story. The company has its own little history.
Yep.
And it brings you to, you're like, oh, who's OZ Tyler? Yeah. And it's like, well, it's now Green River. Well, what's Green River? Green River, it has ties with Lux and MGP, and, it just loops around in its little circle. So,
yeah, I bet with that large amount of people that they show as their team, I bet there's a lot of good stories about everything going on here.
Yeah, because they looks like they're set up really well just to continue and to expand. And
they're not going anywhere. They're squared away. I mean, you can see from this place in Memphis to I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I don't know. Are they ever going to do their own distilling? Do you think they have dreams of that? I think they have a good enough product. They don't worry about that.
Don't know. The future will tell that.
Do they end up getting their own property in Kentucky, right? And they do their own distilling, their own aging. It might be in the process, all that we know, but there's still land available. Everybody else is growing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this Memphis thing, now that I know that's there, when I do the Alabama trips, that's more
You're good.
attainable. This is actually more attainable than going all the way to Kentucky and seeing that. Actually can go up here to Blue Note, quite frankly. That's not too far, because I did Jack on my last trip, and that was quick.
Yeah, and everything's an experience. You know, some things you like, some things you don't like, and you know, from their pictures, it seems very, very 1920s, low key blues,
Right.
rustic.
See the barrel heads, all the barrel heads, and
I do.
Yeah.
You know, the sitting chair with the
Yeah. This would go. I think this actually would go. This is a good bourbon for a Cuban cigar. This is actually, because it's got the sweetness
and it has a spice.
It's got the fruitiness.
Yeah.
I think this would be good with a Cuban, a sweeter, creamier Cuban.
Yeah, because it gives it that balance of
Man, that front end citrusy cherry. How on earth do you attain that? I mean, that is just. It's a miracle of nature that this thing can.
yeah.
We have got to try. I'm going to look for something that's not so special. I'll find a Blue Note that is their run of the mill Blue Note, and we'll do that because
Let's put them side by side.
Yeah,
you know, when you get that, let's
let's do a run of the mill Blue Note,
and you know we'll try that first, and then we will take the Storm Barrel and let's see how it compares.
Yeah,
and see, you know, if that, you know, summer outside with the you know, the events and the if it compares, or if that's far superior.
Yeah, let's do a run of the mill Blue Note, and you said, are they at Total Wine? Run of the mill. Okay,
yeah. $49 is usually what you'll find it for. You know, we found this for 47. So
that's awesome. Yeah. That's a good price point, man, for something this good. Actually, so our Port Charlotte one has a bunch of good guys down there right now. I think I showed you what I'd recently got from there, and we need to do the next show's probably with that.
Okay.
Yeah, join us on that one, because I think you're going to be shocked. It is very unique. It's as unique as it's, but they have a good squared away bunch of management there into the bourbons, and they know what they're doing now. Pretty impressed. Yeah. Pretty impressed down there.
Well, you know, call me up and say, hey, you want to have some bourbon?
Yeah, it's easy. I'll hear tires screeching, and you're here.
I'll be here in 25 minutes. You know, doesn't take much. And especially when, you know, we get to have a conversation and learn about the history and where it came from, and, you know, hopefully to see where it's going, because hopefully don't see this brand falling flat.
No, they're pretty squared away, man.
Yeah, it is good.
I like the transparency. I like, you know, you could easily just migrate your Blue Note experience location to Kentucky and just say, why even have another place in Memphis? You know, whatever. But they're doing that. They maintain that. They're bringing it down. They're saying, no, headquarters is Memphis. And part of it is, I mean, you got a label that's pushing, you know, music. You probably should stay there, right? But there's some lineage. They're maintaining it. They're not giving up on it. I think that's really cool. You got to give them a lot of credit for that. It's, you know, they're not taking the easy route.
Yeah.
You know, I bet it would be easier just to claim those barrels on insurance. Probably even make more money doing that than just doing what they do and go through them and actually bottling them. That's not easy, man.
No.
You imagine the labor of what even machines do you use to, you know, individually pluck those fallen barrels out of that stack.
Yeah.
It's risky. I bet you have to have a fire department on scene. Yeah, you have to have all kinds of things on scene in order to do that.
Well,
it's not easy. I give it to them. It's a good rescue.
Yeah,
good
it is.
rescue.
Yeah, it does. So, Lee, I appreciate the day.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
It's been a good little minute sitting here talking about the Blue Note Juke Joint Uncut, and I look forward to the next time we get to sit around the table and talk about something else.
Same, man. Appreciate you. Thank you.